Hello everyone, AlphaSoul here, and welcome to another video. Happy New Year, guys. It is 2020. It is the first video of this new year, and I am happy to cover this with you guys. And what I'm covering this is actually the creative director's letter, which was just released in the nick of time on December 31st, like 3 hours before it actually hit midnight, at least Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, they released the newsletter in time. It was pretty funny. I was actually talking with some friends. Some of them did not think the letter would come on time. I still held the faith, and at around 9 p.m. I saw Margaret had posted something, and it came off as an alert because I was like, all right, that's probably the newsletter or the creative director's letter, and yes, it was. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start covering, and I'll give you my opinion of what I thought about the newsletter. All right, so to start off, we got the most important news from it is that internal testing for the Alpha 1 client will start, I believe, in January. Now, the letter said next month, but because it was released on December 31st, technically, yes, next month is January, but it could be February. I'm not quite sure. But what is kind of clear from that is more than likely Alpha 1, but Phoenix Initiative, and then, the Alpha 1 testers will not be testing before that. And the next biggest news that came over from that was that they would be demoing the Alpha 1 client and giving an early look to it at the Game Developers Conference, which is in March of this year. I think it's March 16. So we will see the Alpha 1 client come March 16 at the latest, it looks like. I'm not quite sure when Alpha 1 testers would get in. And the letter did mention that Alpha 1 testers will be getting in this year. Of course, there are no dates or months or anything like that outside of those ones that I just told you, now. So we know that internal testing will begin next month, January or February, and we know that we will see the Alpha 1 client in March, which is absolutely positive. Now, the beginning of the letter starts off with what I think is a good initial summary, and a great particular sentence which I wanted to read out to kind of make my case. It says, "A world where choice matters, where risk and reward can be truly felt, and intrusive pay-to-win monetization has no place." I really liked that sentence because it brings it back to the MMO. And overall, the reason why I liked the newsletter was because it was more MMO focused, right? One of my criticisms has been that, obviously, and a lot of people's criticisms has been, it seems like Intrepid has really shifted towards these other modes, if you will. And we get that the modes are in surface of the MMO, but it is nice to see it kind of returning to its MMO roots, if you will, and having those things being tertiary. So that is extremely positive, and it's one thing that I really liked from it. One thing that I wasn't so positive of, and this is just in general what I feel, is it is nice to know that the studio grew and is growing and is going to continue to grow in the next coming year, but I actually would not prefer to hear about it. And the reason why is, what I found is, it's good and great, again, to hear people are hiring and jumping on, they're hiring more, but when people leave, it's kind of weird not to be able to comment on that. And again, completely understandable why Intrepid as a company wouldn't, comment on it, because that's a whole can of worms that you don't want to actually get into. Because there could be many different reasons why they left. They could have found a better job. They could have, got a better offer, blah, blah, blah. They could have left for disciplinary reasons. They could have left, because they didn't agree with the vision. There's a number of reasons why they could have left, right? And most of those reasons would probably be benign, like they don't really matter, if you will. But I think as a tendency with the MMO community is to kind of go off the deep edge, or the deep end, if you will, once they hear that somebody has left the studio and they realize that that person is no longer working there, and they start wringing their hands like, oh my God, something's going on. And I get that response, but for that reason is why I would just prefer not to see or hear about it at all. So that's just my personal preference, obviously, okay? And the other thing that was really good to see was the mention that it takes a lot to build an MMO. And coming from the studio, people are going to say, yeah, that's what it is. But another, popular YouTuber Lazy Peon actually did the same commentary. He did, what is happening with Ashes of Creation video, which I encourage you to check out. It's actually a pretty fair video that I thought, had some very fair points as well too. And so he did it really well. Check out his video. But one of the things that he mentions that Intrepid should get a lot of slack for is the fact that it's still very early. It's still early on within the MMO creation process. MMOs take 5 to 7 years for experienced studios and companies to make, much less Intrepid, a company that is starting up and going at it. And they seem to be making good progress despite that fact. So let's keep that in mind as we keep our criticisms there, that, it takes a lot to build an MMO, and they're chugging along at a pretty good pace considering, right? So yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, the next section was a year in review. Now, the year in review is the section where they essentially highlighted what they did within the year, and I'm just gonna rattle them off. They worked on matchmaking, instancing, multiple maps and levels, architecture and networking, action combat, prelim Castle Siege testing, revamped the SSO and account services, authentication, inventory management, installers, patchers and logging, content assets, all of that. If you've been following Ashes of Creation, that will come, as no surprise. If you're not following it and you're not up to speed, I guess, on MMO development or anything like that, just know that, there's quite a lot of stuff that they worked on. It seems like there is still quite a lot of, there's a lot of stuff that they still have to do, but they're working on stuff is the summary of it. The best part of that particular section is we got a map of Vera. In other words, the world of Ashes of Creation. And on that map, you can see, I think it was 4 circles and 8 diamonds. The 4 circles represent the portals in which you will be able to exit out into the world. And the 8 starting settlements are corresponding to each of the races. And, that's where, you could see them actually kind of linked to the main portal in which you can actually come out. And I believe Stephen had said earlier, I was talking with a guildmate about this, Stephen had said earlier, you can pick and choose where you want to come out of. So each race isn't bound to a particular place, but that's where their heritage place is. All right, so as guildies, you can still choose where you're going to go basically from there. All right, so yeah, I will be talking about the map in detail in a separate video, so keep a lookout for that. Now, as far as the year ahead goes, again, confirmed Alpha 1 this year, no particular date. There will be no NDA for Alpha 1. Castle Siege mode will be coming somewhat in the soonish, I guess, first half-ish. They didn't say first half in the director's letter, which means it could come anywhere, but it stands to reason that they just recently tested that they might want to get it out earlier, who knows. But it will be coming this year as well too. More blogs on classes, node types, freeholds, equipment, and then videos on Alpha 1 systems that we will be playing. So they're chugging along. One thing that I took away from that as well was there will not be, almost definitely not be, a release this year for Ashes of Creation, so you should probably keep that in mind when going through. So that's pretty much it. Whoa, there's a lot of noise actually out there. But that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Check out some more videos that are going to be coming out pretty soon, and that's about it. Thank you guys. Take care of yourselves. You guys have a great day.